Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert1D4, 2Rs2Bs, GundamReviews.net, and today I'm here to talk about the anime Gundam Age. The second generation is on its second episode, which means awesome. Even though the focus is not so much on the mobile suits, it's more on the old school days before they move on to bigger, badder, and more warlike things. But anyway, let's get right to it. Kicking things off with Character of the Week, I have to say that Zeheart Galette sort of stole the show from Asim. Asim is the main character and is going to be, and he's already done such a good job that we've almost forgotten that Flit was the previous main character just 2 short episodes ago. But anyway, Zeheart's addition as a new transfer student last episode caused waves across the school, and it's certainly going to cause an interesting triangle, it looks like, amongst the personal lives of the people there at school and wherever they end up in the future. In terms of character, we got to see that he has both a kind side and the dutiful side, and he can turn that on like a switch. When he's ordered by his Vegan commanders to go and do some spying, he's really happy to do it. He also preys a little bit on Asim's gullibility, although his other friends do that too. But anyway, at the end he also has moments of doubt and hesitation, but when he has the chance to kill Asim, and so it's going to be very interesting to see if he will ever have that, whether he will actually go through with it, or if he's going to be one of those Arthurun types as opposed to the Char type. It's pretty cool to see the other characters, especially the females, react to him. Even Emily thinks that he's cool. Saving Romary was a good thing, and in terms of setting up the triangle between him and Asim, but overall I just can't wait to see. It's great to see the red rival kind of thing. The ZSR having the red is certainly appropriate there. And is he going to turn and become a good guy? Is he going to stay a bad guy the whole time? What's going to happen? This is certainly going to be the crux, it looks like, of Generation 2, and I couldn't be any happier about it. And a quick word on the main character, Asim. It's still cool to see that whole mix between the duty that he's going to feel and his ability to keep a Peter Parker-like secret, and also just his regular friendship kind of thing, where he's got friends, they want to come over, his dad's this high-up muckamuck, so they want to go and check out all his cool stuff, and that's a normal kind of thing. So it's cool to see the way these two things work out. His attraction to Romary is of course going to continue along the way. We'll have to see what kind of thing, now that Zeheart knows who he is, but he doesn't know who Zeheart is, how this plays out and how they stay friends and how much of it is fake and how much of it's real. This again is going to be the crux, and an exciting one at that. Not a lot of choice for Mobile Suit of the Week, but I'm going to have to give it to the Dorado. It certainly helps to have the high grade right here. The ZSR is cool, but then again, we didn't see too much of it in action except for the fact that he was just doing a cheap wrestling tag team dirty hold kind of thing. So anyway, this, all it is a color variation, but the Dorado actually put up a pretty good fight and got a lot more screen time than everybody else, including the H1, which continues to just use its beam sabers and not the Dodge rifle. Some pretty cool moves like losing an arm. It's disappointing that we don't have a beam saber to go along with this guy, but losing his hand and then pulling off his arm, and then also we got to see the pilot escape from the head, so it looks like all the UE pilots are going to be in the head, which may have some ramifications in terms of Kira Yamato trying to save everybody. But the Dorado put up a good fight, as did the H1, and the ZSR. Can't wait to see Zeheart actually cut loose in that, and see if it's actually a step up in these 26 years from the one that Daze was using. And a short honorable mention, but we could have had the Mobile Suit of the Week been the one that they entered in the school MS competition. Age 2, no sign of that on the horizon. It should be there, you'd think, next week, because how long are they going to keep selling this guy without him actually being animated? And yes, one important question was answered for me. Will I be buying the ZSR? Well, if it was just a grunt piloted by nobody and turned into a gym kind of thing, I would not be interested, but if it's piloted by Zeheart, then yes, this is right up there with an Arthurun suit, and it's now a must purchase, despite the fact that it's just red instead of the gray. The scene of the week in terms of action had to come down to, I guess, when the ZSR was going to be holding on to the H1. It looked like he couldn't get out. The Dorado was down an arm, but still, he looked to certainly have the upper hand and deliver the killing blow until good old Vargas showed up. I guess this is DK. Oops, finish him off. Until the prompt intervention by the old paint can Vargas turns on the sprinklers, which turns into a London fog. And somehow Asim is able to make the most of it, and all of a sudden the Genoa's 2s showing up, the old fleet of the 3 tri-stars of them, put an end to the actual battle. But overall, I had to say that my favorite scene of this was the old Team America montage, where they showed them all in their school days having a good time, working together to build the mobile suits, all the friendship between the 4 of them developing. You can see Rosemi and the other students react to them along the way, and it's going to be really cool to see the dynamic of the 4 kids in the Mobile Suit Club and how many of them will carry on and actually be in the military once the real war starts. Now for some overall thoughts, I had to say that I've been really enjoying this whole opening to the second generation. It's sort of a little bit ridiculous in Gundam to have the pilot fall into the cockpit, although we've seen it so many times that you can't not have it in Gundam. And it's just the fact that they're taking their time to slow things down and really explain how Asim can become the pilot that he's obviously destined to become is actually pretty cool, and it's good to see the whole school approach and the regular kids thing. It was something that was a lot of fun at the beginning at Seed. Of course, it gets lost over time, and it'll be interesting to see how much of this carries on. The relationship, of course, the triangle is going to be very interesting, with some people knowing some people's secret identities and not everybody. I couldn't help but think of this guy as being the old Zaku 1 pilot. He's got a scar over his face, so we'll see how major a character he's going to be for the Vegans, and whether Zahart is going to stay under his thumb the whole time. We haven't seen very much of Flit at all in this episode, and Emily, all she got was one line, so we still haven't seen much of their relationship. I'm really curious to see what kind of effect Yurin had on Flit and his life, and pretty much how his whole life became what it did. Vargas is certainly not as annoying as I remember him to be, and basically, everybody in this episode, including Romary, had an interesting role, and I look forward to seeing how it's going to keep developing. Still no sign of the Age 2 though, and I wonder if we're even going to see it next week. As a brief spoiler here if you watch the end of the episode anyway, they showed that they're going to have their graduation ceremony, and of course there's going to be a mobile suit battle breaking out, and I can't wait to see a certain man in white show up. He looks to be a lot in worse shape than he was in the first generation, but we'll see what's happened with his character. Can't wait for the Age 2 to debut, and I can't wait to see how they explain Asim becoming a great pilot and getting into it under the auspices of his father. Anyway everybody, Robert184, gundam.tk, why don't you let me know what you thought of the anime, of the video. Sorry that's a little bit late this week, but I'll be back more on time next week for episode 18, and I can't wait for that. I'm enjoying this a lot more than when the first generation went down to that planet. Those were the slowest 3 episodes, but this one I think it's got a great kickstart to see where this next generation's gonna be. Thanks for watching everybody, see ya! And to end on a slightly unrelated note, here is a shelf from a friend of mine from YouTube, OyametalicusII. He's got some great displays, and I'm talking specifically about his Master Grade 00 kits here. The Exia pose is fantastic. 00 Quanta there with all those third-party effect parts could not be any better, and that kind of shelf is going to draw anybody's eye to it, whether they're a fan of Gundam or not. So kudos to you, and we'll talk to you later. And I can't believe I'm saying it, but even the high grade Genoas 2 is going to become a must purchase for me in high grade. With this episode certainly helped. It was cool to see 3 of them, but it was more last week with his just never give up attitude, even if he's clawing at somebody's ankles. That is still pretty cool for a Federation grunt.